are shining oh so bright everywhere in this little town on this special night. And here we are in the car on our way back home to be with those we love the most.
Who's ready for Christmas, guys? Seriously now. I absolutely love Christmas. Not that I celebrate Christmas, but I just find it an amazing festival. I love how vibrant and joyful the environment becomes. And just to make it a little bit more festive, I've decided to add some flowers and light, as you guys have seen. But unfortunately, this video is not going to be about festivity or colour or Christmas. But it's going to be a much more useful video for all the students out there that require just a little bit more support when it comes to referencing and understanding how to incorporate them within your work. Now, if you haven't already, be sure to have checked my previous video, for which I'll place a link in the description box, where I go about describing what referencing is and understanding how to find appropriate references and stuff. So be sure to have checked that video. And in this video, I'm going to just discuss on two softwares that I'm familiar of that have been extremely useful during my undergrad years in allowing me to easily incorporate references. One of which can be found as an online or as an app format. The other one is an online format. But either way, they're both just as useful, and I found them both to be very effective in being able to reference appropriately and incorporate those references within my work. So without further ado, I will begin with Endnote first. So like I stated, Endnote does come at a price, but the good thing is that you're able to sync both the online and the app form. So if you begin with just the app form to kind of familiarize yourself with kind of the software and stuff, you don't want to download it straight away, that's completely alright. What you can then do is that once you've been satisfied with how well it functions and stuff, you can then download it as an app form, and then you can sync both of them together so that all your data is kind of then transferred to that app as well, so you're not having to kind of shuffle between the two. Now, the one thing I will state here is that be sure that you're aware of whether or not your university provides you with the subscription. Like my university did provide me with the Endnote subscription, so I did not have to pay a penny to get its subscription, and I could have kind of full control of its use. Certain universities may or may not also provide you with that subscription, or they may provide you with a different software that they use for referencing. So just be familiar with that. You don't want to spend money on something that you could have just got for free, I guess. So yeah, just be aware of that. And now I'll show you guys as to how you can go about utilizing Endnote and the difference between the online and the app form. Here is the online version that you're looking at now. Now, the beauty of this is that you only have to sign in once, and then you can create an account with, of course, that 30-day free trial if that's what you're opting for. Or if your university or institute is providing you with its subscription, that's all well and good. That makes it even more better for you. But even with the 30-day trial, you'll be able to see how useful Endnote is. If you're not registered, of course, then you want to click on register and then register with all your details that are relevant. Since I already have an account, I'm just going to briefly show you how it looks online. It's slightly different to how it looks as the app form, which I'll show you just a little later on. But again, it's extremely easy and fairly simple to use. So you can search online, you've got new references, you can import references. Now, I prefer the app version, and as you can see, there aren't any references that I have on my online desktop, simply because majority of them would be on my my Endnote app. And for the sake of this video, I have created a new folder, so you're able to create a new Endnote profile. Say for example, you've got different pieces of coursework to do, or you've got different projects that you're running alongside one another, but you want different tabs so that the information's kind of on different pages, so that you're not actually getting yourself confused and utilizing different articles that are not appropriate for whatever it is that you're discussing. Then I'd certainly state that having a different file overall will make it a lot more convenient. You can either incorporate references directly from the article that you're looking at, or you could actually search for specific articles that you're looking at. So let's say, for example, you've chosen one, and for the sake of this video I'm going to focus on type 1 diabetes. So if I go and look at an article that is relevant, so I'm just going to quickly go and find an article, and I'm just going to select the first one that I find. But you of course will have done a lot more research to have found articles that are more relevant and have gathered information that is going to be more appropriate to whatever work you're incorporating. So I'm just going to click on the first one here that is from Nature, and say for example I've incorporated some information from this article in one of my paragraphs where I'm discussing type 1 diabetes, and therefore I want to incorporate this reference to state that the information I've provided is from this particular article. Now with Nature, it's actually extremely easy for you to kind of incorporate and download this article as a reference into your EndNote, because it simply states cite this article right at the top. You can see after all the authors and kind of the journal where it's been published, you can see right at the end, you can see cite this article. You want to click on that and it will instantly download it for you and allow you to see it on your EndNote. What you'll see is you'll instantly see that being transferred and downloaded to your EndNote software. Now whether that's the app or the online form, either way you'll have it transferred to that. So now that I'll go and check my EndNote and see here it's already downloaded. Now it's extremely easy from here and it cannot be any simpler than this, but all you've got to do is then just incorporate it from the app itself. I can transfer that to my Word document by browsing right at the top. You can see the W sign. If you click on that, that's just state that that's kind of the Word document that you want to transfer it to. If you click on that, it'll directly download it to your Word document. Or I could do it from my document itself, going by EndNote. Since I've downloaded it, this will not usually be available if you're doing it online, but since I've already downloaded the EndNote software, and this is why I place emphasis on downloading it, it makes your life a lot easier. I can actually incorporate appropriate reference from my document itself. So you can see right at the top where it says next to help, EndNote X9. Mine's of course from the previous year, so it's an X9, but it's just as good. You want to look at the style, so make sure that the style that you're incorporating your references to be as are correct. So whether that's Harvard, Vancouver, AMA, J, health behavior, or public health, whatever it may be sure that it's in relation to what your university or institute adheres to. So if I click on insert citation, I'll be able to incorporate reference that I'm looking at. So if you have a whole list of references, it'll become extremely challenging, and you might have to browse for it by the search engine that it provides, with either the author's name, the title of the article, or even the year it was published. Now, since I'm very familiar with how EndNote works, it's extremely easy for me to incorporate references from my document itself. I hardly ever go to the EndNote app or even the online version whilst I'm actually writing and typing up my coursework, simply because I have all the relevant articles that I require before I begin to type, and that is why it becomes extremely easy for me to then just incorporate relevant information from articles into my work without actually having to kind of go back and forth from the app and then to my document. Now, if you are not familiar with kind of how EndNote works, I would stick to going back and forth from the app to your document to make sure that you're incorporating the correct references, especially if you've found references that are from the same author in the same year, or that they're a year apart, or they have similar titles, or they're published from the same journal. be sure that you're incorporating the correct one. And sometimes to distinguish between the two can be extremely difficult. Even for me, sometimes I have to kind of make sure that it's the correct reference by actually reading the full kind of the title, the publication year, even the page number. Sometimes I try and remember them to make that distinction. So you know, do what's best for you and what you're comfortable with. So that is Endnote for you. It's fairly simple, and you know, there's not much to it more than that. You know, I'd state that the best way you can learn to use Endnote is to then, you know, become more familiar by, you know, fiddling around with it yourself, understanding all its features, and what more it offers. Because there certainly is a lot more that it offers than I've stated in this video, but I certainly cannot go into all the nitty-gritty of utilizing Endnote in this video because it will just be extremely long and laborious. So I want to discuss My Bib with you guys next. Now, My Bib, like I stated, is an online form, and it's one that I became familiar with fairly recently, and it's one that is free of cost. You know, you have the freedom of creating an account for yourself so that you're able to save those references. But unlike Endnote, where you'll have not only the in-text citation and kind of the reference itself also provided, it's slightly different when you're doing it with My Bib. So whilst you'll be able to import in-text citations very easily where and when it's appropriate, in terms of the referencing list that is generated, it'll be accumulated right at the end, and you can only insert it right at the end once you've inserted all the references. So it will not be that, you know, whilst you're writing, you're able to have the in-text citations and your reference list also created, but you only have the in-text citation. The reference list is created and generated right towards the end, which you can then just download from the My Bib app, or the software, I should say rather, because it's not an app, it's just the online version, and then incorporate it onto your document. Again, I'm going to select a different article this time because I want to see the difference in how the in-text citation will look, and how you generate the reference list as well. So let's go with COVID-19 association with type 1 diabetes. Why not? Now, I found relevant information from this article as well that I want to incorporate. Let's say, for example, by taking the URL of the site where that article is, I can import it into My Bib, and it will search that article for me, and all I have to do is then click on that and make sure that the information it has is correct and save it. And there you go, that's my first reference. Now, if I wanted to import this into my in-text citation, all I'm doing is clicking on those three dots, copy in-text citation, and this is where it's slightly different to how it would ideally be. And all I'm doing is then pasting that, and there you go, that's my in-text citation. Now, because I've chosen the Harvard format, this is how it'd be. So if you have more than 2 authors, automatically you would have et al. Coming up after the first author, and then just the year that the article was published. And that is for Harvard referencing only, at least as far as I'm aware of. I'm not sure of other styles that also do, you know, a single author, et al, and then the year. So just be familiar of that. But as you can see, my reference list has not been generated. Now that is because if you look right at the top where it says Harvard Style Share, next to Share, it says Download Reference List. And if you click on that, now I could say copy and paste, and there you go, you've got your reference list generated. And that is what I meant by when I stated that you could have the in-text citation, but the reference list will not be generated. And you know, it'll be really pointless for you to actually copy and paste each and every single time you've incorporated a reference by downloading that reference list. So I'd state that leave that reference list right till the end once you've got all your references incorporated. Be sure that you're incorporating the in-text citations. You can do that whilst you're doing your work. But the reference list, I'd leave it right till the end, and then just download it together and then copy it right at the end into my work right at the bottom, because of course your reference list will be the last thing that you have for your work anyway, so you might as well leave it right till the end, but have those in-text citations, you know, provided whilst you're working is extremely important. So this brings me to the end of this video. I really hope that I've been able to clarify the difference between Endnote and My Bib. They're both extremely powerful tools to use when it comes to referencing, so be sure to familiarize yourself with both of these tools. And if you haven't already, guys, be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell icon right next to it to make sure that you're regularly updated. Thank you so much again for watching my video. Until next time, guys, take care. Bye!